Hi, and welcome to another episode of Jackson District Library's book tasting program. My name is Carly. I'm the branch manager of the East Branch. This is Christina. She's the branch manager for the Springport and Parma branches. And today our guest is Diane, the executive project strategist from the administration leadership team for Jackson District Library. Thank you so much for joining us today, Diane.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to discuss some of the books that we've recently read, loved, maybe didn't like, and then we'll go over what we're excited to read in the coming months. Christina, why don't you get us started?
So every once in a while, I like to reread some of my favorite authors or books. I decided that this summer I was going to reread Young Jane Young by one of my favorite authors, Gabrielle Zevin. I love all of her books. This is the story of a young woman who's in her 20s and she goes to college down in South Florida, but then she becomes romantically involved with a politician that she's interning with. When that secret comes out, she ends up moving to Maine and she reinvents herself. Eventually, when she grows older, she wants to try politics herself. Can she do that having a secret past? Rereading this, what stood out the most to me was that Zevin allows us to consider these mistakes that we make as younger people, the consequences of it, how we can reinvent ourselves. And so it's quite fitting that I have this caterpillar behind me because I feel like that's what Zevin's allowing us to do. If you like complex characters, people that are flawed, all of her characters are like that in all of her books. So I highly recommend this. I found this using Novel List Plus, which is a database that we have access to, and it can help you find books. So if you're looking specifically for a genre or a book that's set in a setting, you can use that to help you find it. So I was trying to find for the Read Harder Challenge a cozy book that was written by a BIPOC person. And so this book came up. It's written by Danielle Arceneaux. It's a new series, Glory Be, about a bookie who lives in Lafayette, Louisiana, and her friend, who is a nun, dies. And so everybody thinks it's a suicide. But Glory knows her friend, and she knows that she did not commit suicide. And so you go on the journey of her trying to figure out who actually killed her friend. I love this book because Glory is sassy and she is bossy, but she's also fiercely loyal and loving. And because it's a cozy mystery, she finds herself in many pickles. So I highly recommend it. The second one in the series has come out, so I am intrigued to read the second book to see how it goes with Glory. She has a daughter who's going through a divorce and she comes and helps her, and so I like that little side story as well. I've noticed that with all these covers, they're all of women and they have either no eyes or their eyes are covered. Totally did not mean to do that, but kind of going across those lines.
That is so interesting.
This is a new one. It's written by Maxie, Dara. It's called A Grim Reaper's Guide to Catching a Killer. And so it's about this lady who's around my age. She is going through a divorce. She has to keep her occupation secret, and her husband loves her so much, and she feels so bad that she cannot share what she does for a living, that she just has to get away from him. Before the divorce, she gets pregnant. I know, right? And so now she's like, I don't want to leave him. I want to save him from, my occupation. So what's her occupation? She works for Scythe, secure collection, yielding, and transportation of human essences. So she's essentially a grim reaper. She goes when people pass away and helps them go to processing in order for them to go on to whatever.
Processing.
Yes. If she goes to somebody and within 45 days that processing does not take place, that person becomes a ghost. The story starts out with her trying to go and process a young man named Connor who's 17 and dies. Well, Connor doesn't want to go. Connor was killed, it turns out, by somebody at Scythe. Kathy, the main character, the 42-year-old pregnant woman, helps Connor figure out who killed him, why he was killed, and then eventually, I'm not going to tell you what happens. So you'll have to read to find out. But it's very delightful, happy endings.
Sounds like it.
That sounds really good.
I love that it's a cozy paranormal,
Yeah.
and it's a series. I don't know if the second one has come out yet, but I'm looking forward to continuing.
I love that cozy paranormal is becoming a thing.
Yes.
I have a book on my list coming up. I wasn't going to talk about it today, but it's a romance between two Bigfoot hunters.
Oh. Nice.
And it's becoming a thing now. People are writing it and people are reading it, and I'm very excited about that.
If you do like cozy mysteries, but you don't like cursing, I would not read this book because Connor, as a 17-year-old, has a very big potty mouth. I'm letting you know that because I know people who like cozy mysteries don't always like certain things. So just so you forewarned. But if you don't care, I highly recommend this book.
Those are all awesome. Thanks, Christina. I'm excited too about Young Jane Young. I just read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow this year. It was not what I was expecting it to be at all.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to read more from her. So it's cool that you say that she's one of your favorite authors. Well, fantastic. Diane, would you like to share what you would like to talk about with us today?
I do audiobooks. I have a half-hour drive to work. I just find them on Hoopla or on Libby, and I listen to them on my drive in and my drive home. Better than radio, in my opinion.
Right.
The first book I did find is Kristin Hannah's The Women. It's a historical fiction, and it tells the story of Frances, who she goes by Frankie, and she becomes a nurse in the U.S. Army Nurse Corps during the Vietnam War. For anybody that's read Kristin Hannah, she tends to write about like real life type of things, usually based around women. This tells Frankie's story and how she experiences the war, friends that die during the war, and then coming back, and how she was treated by the public, how all of our servicemen and women were treated. But it's her story. She falls in love and loses love and all that, and it's a great, great story. I highly recommend this book. Another one that I just finished, and I've told Carly about it. I've been telling everybody about it. My sister recommended to me, and it's called Big Sexy Love. It's by Kirsty Greenwood. I have never read a book that made me laugh, and this book cracked me up. Olive is from the UK, and her best friend Birdie is very sick and is dying, and you know that right from the beginning. But she sends Olive on a quest to the U.S. in New York City. Her adventure is hilarious. The way that it's written is just fantastic. The gal that narrates it, and I can't remember her last name, she does all the voices. She does all the accents. She is funny. Like, the way that she tells the story is just great. The first part where she flies to New York, she's never flown. She's 24 years old. She has super anxiety about flying. Her adventure just on the plane alone was amazing. The Big Sexy Love is what we would say is finding the one, right? Yeah. Finding our big sexy love is what is part of this quest. It's great. It is truly fantastic. Another book that I've listened to is called If I Were You. It's by Lynn Austen. Set in England during World War II. It's about two young girls, 12 years old. They meet each other. One is the daughter of an aristocratic family. The other one, her mother, is the aristocrat's wife's lady's maid. They come to meet each other, but they're very different from each other. One's in the village, one lives in the mansion, you know, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. The story follows them all the way through the war and how they deal with the war. There is a twist, and yeah, you'll have to read it because I don't want to give it away.
It can be so hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And at the end, I was like, what is happening right now? So yeah, a really good read. And it does talk a lot about the things that happened during World War II. I went in and looked them up, and they really did happen. So she brings a little bit, kind of like Kristin Hannah, she kind of brings back some of the realistic stuff that happened during the war.
I really like that. Yeah. When the historical fiction does have like those either real people or real events, yes, and then the characters have to navigate that. Yes. That's really fun.
Yeah, I really like that too, because it brings it to you, right? Like, but not in a way where you feel like you're being lectured.
Right. Yeah.
Because who likes that? Those are my three.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diane. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear about your audiobook experiences. And it's so true that the audiobook reader makes such a big difference. Because it can be the best book on the planet, and if it's read by a bad reader, nobody's gonna get through it, you know?
Yeah.
Several of the books that I've read recently were Melcat books, so they came from other libraries in Michigan, and I no longer have them to hold up and show you, which is okay. But I did recently read The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This was written in the late 90s. It takes place in the early 90s. It follows the main character named Charlie, and this is a really classic coming-of-age high school young adult novel. It has really stood the test of time. It has been beloved by generations of young adults and teens. It is considered or has been listed as one of the most banned books in the last couple of decades because it does tackle some hard topics, the things that teens can get up to sometimes. It's almost a personal goal to read read as many of the most banned books as possible just to see what it's all about. I don't want to give anything away, but the characters are so well realized. It's an epistolary novel, so every chapter is Charlie writing a letter to you, so you read it as the receiver of these letters, but it's made clear that Charlie doesn't know you and you don't know Charlie. Charlie heard about you from a friend as somebody that's a really good listener.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's sweet and earnest. You fall in love with the characters. They're all so well-rounded and different and interesting. These are kids who are making mistakes, learning lessons, and discovering their own families in a new way, and it's very, very delightful. And as Charlie says, helps you feel infinite. So, very, very good book. I also read a duology in a series. So there's a series, I think technically the whole thing is called the Bridge Kingdom series, but the series is a set of duologies. So the first 2 books are a duology, 3rd and 4th book are a duology, and then the 5th and 6th book are a duology. I've read the first 2 books, which are called The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen, and they are by Danielle L. Jensen. This book is the first book in the second duology. So this is the Inadequate Heir duology. The first books that I read, I loved them. I was not expecting to. They definitely have all the romantasy tropes, but there is so much delightful world building and in-world politics and relationships and espionage and swashbuckling and adventure. They're fast-paced, they're romantic as heck. The first duology follows Lara, who is one of 12 daughters picked out from all of the King of Meridia's daughters to secretly be trained since childhood in the desert. There was a treaty made between the Kingdom of Meridia and the Kingdom of Ithacana, otherwise known as the Bridge Kingdom, that bridges 2 continents and controls all of the trade between all of the countries on these 2 continents. Once the Prince of Ithacana comes of age, he's going to marry one of the princesses of Meridia. So the King of Meridia secretly raises 12 of his daughters to be strategists and assassins, and the idea is that the best one of those 12 will be married to the prince, infiltrate the Bridge Kingdom, secure and take over the bridge, and then murder the prince, and then Meridia can take over the bridge. And of course, Lara falls in love with the prince, and it's so romantic. At the end of the first book, I was so mad. My adrenaline was going so hard. It has this like cliffhanger, and Lara has made the biggest mistake. By the end of the first book, I was just like, this can't be it. This can't be it. And then I had to wait for the other book to come in, and it was torturous. It was so, so good. So this second part of the duology follows Lara's older brother, and I don't know much more about it than that. I am so excited to get started on it. The other book that I read is called The Women Could Fly by Megan Giddings. Megan Giddings is a Michigan native author, and all of her books take place in Michigan. She writes speculative, sci-fi, kind of experimental novels. This is the second one I've read by her. The first one that I read, Lakewood, is about race and class and medical access, and so it's about a woman who, to pay for the medical bills of her grandmother, goes into a medical facility as part of a trial, like a test, so she's basically being medically experimented on, and so it's a discussion about Black bodies and how they're treated historically in medicine, and it was pretty far out. I don't think I understood it, but I was riveted the entire time. The second one that I've read is The Women Could Fly, and that one was so good. It's an alternative present where women can still be burned as witches. It's never really made clear whether magic is super real or not, but you're taught witchcraft and history in school, and you can still be accused of being a witch, you can still be tried for being a witch, you can still be burned by being a witch. The main character, her mom disappeared when she was a young teen, and well, you wouldn't disappear unless you were a witch. Even though her mom's never been tried as a witch, this person is growing up as the daughter of a witch. It gets pretty far out, and I loved every single second of it. It's also cool because all of our books take place in Michigan. So she's name dropping all these towns and even small towns. And I'm like, I know that place, you know?
Oh, so what part?
A lot of them take place just south of Traverse City area, like up in the west, but sometimes they go to Detroit, sometimes they go up into the UP, you know, they kind of go everywhere.
cool, yeah.
Those are the books that I've read recently that I just absolutely cannot get enough of. What are we looking forward to?
So I'm currently listening to, because I also have a long drive, so I'm always doing audiobooks. I'm finally doing my third Jodi Picoult book. First two that I listened to from her I did not like as much, but this one I absolutely love. It's very riveting. I have to stop myself from binging out on the book because it's so good. It's Wish You Were Here, and it's about Diane O'Toole. She is almost 30. She has her whole life planned out, but then everything gets thrown against the wall because COVID happens. So this takes place in 2020. And as you're reading the story, she's coming to terms with who she wants to be and the type of life she actually wants to have based on all of these events that are out of her control. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm looking forward to reading another one by her since that one was so good. Now I'm going to try some other ones by her, but Small Great Things is another one that I'm looking forward to listening to as an audiobook. I love Tom Hanks as an actor, so I didn't really know he actually wrote books, but I want to read this one by him called The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece, and I'm going to see if he's as good of a writer as he is an actor, so I'll have to let you know.
Please do.
The other book that I am very interested in, and I found this by using Novelist Plus, it is called City of the Nightbirds, and it is written by Juhea, and it is about a prima ballerina. So if anybody knows anything about me, I'm from Texas, and I like dance. This has nothing to do with Texas, but it does have to do with dance. It is about a prima ballerina from Russia. Something happens, she has an injury, and then she's recovering, and it's the story of her deciding whether or not she wants to go back into that world of Russian ballet. There's supposed to be a lot of interesting adventures that go on, so I'm really looking forward to reading this story. And isn't the cover beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous.
I do judge books by covers, so this makes it very
100%.
enticing.
I'm glad you said that. I'm absolutely all about judging
I
books
know.
by their covers.
I do too. If it looks boring, the book's got to be boring, right?
Yeah.
Me? Anxious People by Fredrik. Backman. Is it Backman? So I have two sisters. One lives in Mexico, one lives in Montana. So we're always bouncing off, what are you reading? What are you reading? Anxious People is one that she recommended. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that it's about a gal that goes to rob a bank. The bank has no money. Like it's a moneyless bank. So she ends up in an apartment building or something next door. The people that are in the apartment she holds hostage. The anxiety and their problems come out and how they all deal with the whole thing. That's all I've got from it. I've heard it. She's like, it's a great book.
It's so good, Diane.
Okay.
You're going to
I
like
can't
it.
wait. I can't wait.
You gotta give authors a try, because the first book I read by Backman was the Ove book, and I didn't really like it as much, so I wasn't looking forward to reading Anxious People, but it was really good.
She said it was really intriguing, and she got it right with Big Sexy Love, so
Yeah,
I
there
gotta
you
trust,
go, there
right?
you
I gotta
go.
trust. So, and I have a love-hate relationship with Jodi Picoult
Oh, you do?
because first couple I read, loved them, and then I read My Sister's Keeper, and I was angry, so I
Yeah.
tried again. Just for those of you that have only ever seen the movie, the book does not end the way the movie
Never do.
ends. And then I read Handle with Care. Little girl has brittle bone disease.
Osteoimperfecta or whatever.
And also ends in a way that made me angry, and so I've never picked up another one of her books. So there's that.
Osteogenesis imperfecta.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Wow.
Wow, look at you. Another one I'm looking forward to is Miracle Creek. This is one that we're reading as a JDL book club book coming up here in August, and it's a book about an immigrant family and a young single mother who killed her autistic son. And so that's all I can tell you, really. I try to not read too much about what the stories are about because I just want to be intrigued when I get into them.
Absolutely.
So those are the two that I have coming up. And I'm reading or listening. I say reading.
I know.
It's
I'm
reading.
listening.
I'm like that too. Yeah.
It's reading.
I'm reading All the Colors of the Dark. This book was recommended by our director. It is really good, and it's long, but it is really, I'm like totally into it, and I'm loving that I have an hour every day to listen to it. There's a serial killer on the loose, and this young boy, like, he stops him in the act, I guess you would say, with a girl from his school. He ends up being taken, and the girl gets away. It follows him through his captivity, and then he is found by his best friend. And they're young, they're like 13 years old. But then it follows him through his life because he is with a girl while he's held captive. And people are telling him that she's not real, that it's his imagination. And he spends his life trying to find her. I'm at a really good part, and I'm loving it. We still don't know if it was part of the psychological imagination or if she was really real. So,
Wow.
You need to read Wish You Were Here.
Okay.
Yeah, give it. Pick it up.
Okay. All right. I'll be trusting. I will trust.
Give Jodi another try.
I tell ya. I read The Pact and I read 10th Circle. Really good. Both of them were good, and that's what took me to My Sister's Keeper. And then I was like, okay, I'll give it one.
Yep.
Maybe I'll trust you.
Yeah.
So those are the ones right now that
Those all sound really
I'm in
good.
and looking forward to.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to add so many books to my list after today.
I know, that always happens.
Yeah.
I know.
It's great. It's great. That's why we do this, right?
It is, absolutely. The one I'm currently reading right now is a true crime called The Colony: Faith and Blood in a Promised Land. This is written by the author Sally Denton. She writes a lot of true crime. This one in particular is really personal for her because she was raised Mormon. And so this book is about an event that happened in 2019 where a caravan of, it was like 19 women and children were driving between the Mormon community of Lamora to the other Mormon community of Colonia LeBaron. They're both Mormon communities. There's a lot of intermarriage between the two. And so this group of women and children were driving from Lamora to Colonia LeBaron. Some of them were going to visit family. Some of them were going to move there. In between those two communities, their caravan is attacked and most of them are murdered.
Oh.
Some children were able to survive. One of the babies was pulled out of her car seat and put down onto the floor and covered with a blanket so that the infant survived. And then a couple of the older kids were able to run. But all of the adult women and a lot of the children were murdered. I don't know if they officially know the reason why. If so, I'll learn it in the book. The author is talking about the community's relationships with the local governments in the two different states. So they're in the state of Sonora and then in the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. So the communities have relationships with those two governments, but there's also relationships with the local gangs and cartels, the relationship between the two communities themselves. This author was raised Mormon, and not only is she telling the story of this event that was a mass murder, but also talking about the cultural, economic, and religious history that led to this moment. It's very fascinating, very compassionately written. It's weird to say like I'm enjoying it, but honestly I can't put it down. It's so fascinating, and the author is painting such a vivid picture of these individuals that were involved and the women who died and the repercussions throughout their communities, and it's absolutely fascinating and tragic. So if you're interested in true crime, I'm only a little ways in, but it has been really eye-opening and informative. Also, again, The Inadequate Heir. I'm looking forward to starting the second duology in the Bridge Kingdom series, which is a romantasy with the most incredible world building and internal world politics that I've ever read. It's so good. I'm looking forward to The Paradox Hotel by Rob Hart. This is a genre blending book that I've picked up for Read Harder. It is a sci-fi where there's this hotel called The Paradox Hotel. It's for the ultra wealthy to go to because the different areas of the hotel enables you to time travel. There's been a murder. So it's a murder mystery in a time travel hotel.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing, actually.
It really does. I don't know much more about it besides that, but I'm here for it. I'm very excited.
You have to let me know how that one goes.
Absolutely will.
That sounds good.
I love time travel.
Yeah.
I know,
I love murder, so.
it's the best of both worlds. The other one is a book that I've had my eye on ever since it came out, and then I was able to use it to fulfill another Read Harder challenge, which is pick a book based on its setting. We'll have to show you a good close-up of the cover of this book. It is so beautiful. It's another sci-fi. This book is called The Jinn-Bot of Shantiport by Samit Basu, and it takes place in a city on a planet, and this city was known as the gateway to the stars. It was this huge port city, lots of trade, lots of tourism. It was where people went to venture out into space. Now, with new technology and new locations that have opened up, it has become a dying city. Nobody goes there anymore. The economics are floundering. The people are struggling. The main character and then her brother, who is a monkey bot, wants to leave and she wants to stay. And then a new technology arrives on planet that changes everything. A sci-fi story told with like Southeast Asian folklore, and I'm so excited to read it. I am fascinated by the idea of a slowly dying port city on a far-flung planet in space. It sounds so good to me. And it's a Jinn-Bot, like a genie, and there's a monkey bot brother.
Monkey bot brother.
It sounds so good.
How can you go wrong?
You can't. You can't go wrong with that. But that's what I'm looking forward to reading in the next couple of months. Well, thank you so much, Diane, for joining us. This has been so much fun. Diane has been on our podcast as well. It's always so much fun sitting down with you and talking about the media that you're enjoying. So,
Thank you.
Again, I'm Carly. We're at the Eastern Branch. Come check it out. We've been making a point to film all of our book tastings at some of the branches that have been through renovations in the past year or two. So come give it a look. Enjoy our new spaces. Thanks again, Christina, the co-host of Book Tasting, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
And today our guest is Diane, the project manager and executive assistant for Jackson District Library. We're so excited to have you on. Was that good? Was that you are the both of those things?
Yeah, I have a title though. You want it?
Yeah. From our admin branch and leadership. From our admin branch. I keep wanting to say admin branch. That's not the
What do you
word.
call it?
From administration and our leadership team is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you can drop the branch. We have no books.
It's okay.
It's about this almost 30-year-old girl going through. I'm not gonna. I can't. The spoilers.
Right. I know.
That's hard.